Hello and welcome to the program today. I'm Layo Olarinde. It's official. The Electoral Commission in Ghana has declared former president and main opposition leader John Mahama the winner of Saturday's presidential election. John Mahama, who won 56.55% of the vote, is making a comeback after serving as Ghana's president from 2012 to 2016. Mr. Mahama's main rival, the vice president and ruling party presidential candidate Mahamudu Bawumia, already conceded defeat in both presidential and legislative elections on Sunday. The Electoral Commission has counted votes from 267 out of the country's 276 constituencies, and observers say they are impressed with the electoral process.
I'm so proud and congratulate Ghana for a successful election, both on the security side and from the Electoral Commission, and the role of civil society. I was at CODEO headquarters yesterday, and there were delegations from around the world there to sort of see how CODEO and Ghanaian civil society organizations are observing Ghana's elections, including with the parallel voter tabulation exercise. And so again, even on the civil society side, Ghana is a model.
I would say that this has been an election that has been run very well. And you can see from the fact that the vice presidential candidate for the ruling party was able to concede, judging from the fact that he had put down the figures and saw that everything went well. So, judging from that, you don't need anybody to tell that this election was well run.
In his acceptance speech, President-elect John Mahama pledged measures to reform the government in what he called a nation reset. His campaign had centered on renegotiating Ghana's $3 billion IMF bailout and easing business regulations. He also promised to commence a 24-hour triple shift work system, enact tax reforms, and invest $10 billion in infrastructure. Ghana, a major cocoa, gold and oil producer, is facing a major economic crisis amid crushing debt.
The results of this election, as declared today by the Electoral Commissioner, show that the National Democratic Congress, with me, John Dramani Mahama, as leader, has just chalked one of the most emphatic victories in the electoral history of the Fourth Republic. We have therefore been bestowed with a very outstanding mandate by the good people of Ghana. I'm deeply honored and humbled to receive such an overwhelming endorsement from the Ghanaian people. This mandate represents many things for all political actors and those who seek to lead our nation. It shows that the Ghanaian people have little tolerance for bad governance, particularly of the sort witnessed in the last 8 years, and that they are willing to take decisive action at critical moments when it matters most. This mandate also serves as a constant reminder of what fate awaits us if we fail to meet the aspirations of our people and govern with arrogance.
Well, let's bring in lawyer and associate at JS Held and an expert on Anglophone West Africa, JJ Enoch. He's joining us virtually from London. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Hi, Layo. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's begin with the relations between Ghana and Nigeria. Both countries refer to themselves as brothers, probably because Ghana is the closest English-speaking country to Nigeria in West Africa. But relations over the past 10 years have frayed. resulting in diplomatic residence issue a couple of years ago. Now, President-elect John Mahama grew up here in Nigeria and is friends to some of our political leaders. Do you think that he could perhaps use that camaraderie to smoothen relations between both Ghanaians and Nigerians?
Yeah, I would say that's really important. Mahama definitely has good relationship with Nigeria. Like you mentioned, he spent 18 years of his formative years in Nigeria after his dad escaped following the coup in 1966. And he spent some time here, particularly in Kwara State, Offa to be precise, which gives him a good understanding of the country and helped him form good relationship with the country. Also, one point to mention is that he himself, he said that political consciousness came to him by listening to Fela Kuti. So on that part, he's familiar with the country. And if you look at his first term as president of Ghana, that's between 2012 and 2017, he had really good relationship with Nigeria. He was always engaging quite closely with President Goodluck Jonathan, and even when Buhari came in, he had good relationship. So on that front, I don't think there's likely to be any issue with respect to his relationship. And I think, if anything, it will help smoothen the whole relationship that Nigeria currently has with Ghana, which politically has not been the smoothest over time, but currently is pretty stable.
Indeed. Now, considering that Nigeria's closest neighbors are French-speaking countries who have cut ties with France and, also had a sour moment with ECOWAS, I'm talking Niger, Burkina Faso, what would Ghana bring to the table to be able to strengthen the ECOWAS body at this time under John Mahama?
What I would say is, under John Mahama, the terrorism wasn't at this point really in West Africa. Things have really gotten worse since he left and up to this point now that he's coming back. But over that period, there were a lot of initiatives that were brought in. Particularly, there's one initiative used to combat terrorism in West Africa, and it was started by Ghana in 2017. It's called the Accra Initiative. It started in September 2017, just after Mahama left office in January. So in that sense, and that initiative is made up of Ghana, definitely, Burkina Faso, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, and these countries that, to an extent, have been experiencing terrorism. So from that front, Mahama would likely be able to kind of form some negotiation with these countries. Particularly speaking on this point, I would like to add that the Accra Initiative could be an avenue for Ghana, through Mahama, to mend the relationship that ECOWAS currently has with countries like Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. One point to note here is that after he was brought in, after he was announced the winner of the election, Ibrahim Traore, the head of state of Burkina Faso, sent out a tweet congratulating him and expressing the intention to work closely with him. So on that front, there's a window for negotiation and engagement with these states that they feel that ECOWAS hasn't treated them well over the past year. So on that front, there's a room for negotiation and engagement. That's my thought on that for now.
Well, hinging on your earlier comment about his first term, between 2012 and 2016, his supporters had always been saying, he's done it before and he can do it again. But, these were different times. And what is there now in his legacy that can help bring the change Ghanaians want to see at this current political atmosphere in Africa and even in the world?
Yeah, so it's interesting that why Mahama was voted out in 2016 was because of the economy was not really doing well, and then there was power cuts, frequent power cuts. They call it dumso in Ghana. And if you look to the reasons why he has come back now, it's essentially the same thing. Just that the scale of the power cut has increased, and the economy is really struggling. I would say. So essentially, it's the same thing he has been called back to fix. Why he was put out is why he has been called back. And he has laid out his plans. Key on his economic plan is to introduce what he calls the 24-hour economy. It's a situation whereby the businesses in Ghana would be able to run throughout the day and night the businesses will be running good and fine. That's what he claims he wants to do. But to do that, it will be very important for him to be able to fix the energy issue in Ghana, because over the past year, power cuts have increased. And so if there's going to be anything like a 24-hour economy, energy issues have to be sorted out. But he has also mentioned that within the first 120 days of coming in, he's going to introduce an accelerated export development corporation, and also going to start what he calls a kind of the plan for the implementation of the 20-hour economy. So legislation, amendment, and creation is going to begin once he comes in within 120 days. So those are the things we are looking at for him to do. He has laid that out in his manifesto, and it's for us to see if he would keep to that. But also, if you will let me to add another point to this, is that the election has brought in his party, the NDC, that's the National Democratic Congress, to have the overwhelming majority in parliament. And the previous parliament, that's the current 8th parliament now, it's like a hung parliament where both major parties have equal number of representatives in the parliament. So that way, it's been pretty difficult for policies and legislations to go through swiftly. But with his new government, his party has almost what you call absolute control of the parliament. So legislations would pass quite easily. Policies will also pass without any form of real hindrance from the parliament, which could be a good thing in the sense that when meaningful policies are brought forward, things would move swiftly and quickly. But when if there's a situation now where policies that are not necessarily accepted by the general public, it could also go swiftly, and this may not be accepted by the people. So it could have both good and bad effect on the entire country.
All right then. Well, January 7, he will be sworn in, taking office, and would wait and see how it all pans out. But thank you so much, JJ Enoch, expert on Anglophone West Africa and a lawyer associate at JS Health. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Layo. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's take a look at who President-elect John Dramani Mahama is as he prepares to return to the Jubilee House. It's another political comeback the world is seeing after U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Also, the 66-year-old John Mahama led Ghana from 2012, to 2016, and is one of the West African country's most experienced politicians.
John Dramani Mahama has triumphed in his 4th consecutive bid for the presidency amid public frustration over Ghana's economic woes, including high prices and scarce jobs. He has served at all levels of office as Member of Parliament, Deputy Minister, Minister, Vice President, and President.
Of the Constitution.
Born in 1958 in Damango, Ghana, he entered national politics as a Member of Parliament in 1996. He rose to prominence when selected as running mate to John Atta Mills, becoming Vice President in 2009. But after just 3 years in office, Mills died unexpectedly at the age of 68. Just hours after his tragedy, a 58-year-old Mahama was sworn in as president. In his speech, Mahama described the day as the saddest in Ghana's history.
This is the saddest day in our nation's history. Tears have engulfed our nation, and we are deeply saddened and distraught. I never imagined that one day I would address our nation in such difficult circumstances. I'm personally devastated. I've lost a father, I've lost a friend, I've lost a mentor and a senior comrade.
John Mahama then won a formal election in December 2022, securing 50.7% of the votes against opposition leader Nana Akufo-Addo, who secured 47.7% amid controversy and the Supreme Court challenge.
With us is His Excellency the Vice President-elect.
However, Mahama's presidency was marred by a severe electricity crisis, locally termed Dumsor, akin for off-on. The frequent blackouts sparked widespread protest and economic disruptions from 2012 to 2016. In December 2016, he lost his re-election bid to long-term rival Akufo-Addo, who secured 53.8% of the vote to Mahama's 44.4%. Mahama conceded, marking Ghana's first transfer of power via the ballot since 1992. Post-presidency, Mahama transitioned into a role resembling an elder statesman. Undeterred by his 2016 loss, Mahama ran again in 2020. He lost to Akufo-Addo once more, securing 47.4% of the vote against Akufo-Addo's 51.3%. As Akufo-Addo reached his term limit, Mahama mounted his fourth consecutive presidential campaign for the 2024 election, facing Akufo-Addo's vice president, Mahamudu Bawumia.
A court in France has found French-Cameroonian author Charles Onana guilty of downplaying the Rwandan genocide. The court ruled that Onana's writings violated the country's laws prohibiting genocide, denial, and incitement to hatred. 60-year-old Mr. Onana has been fined €8,400 and his publishing director has been ordered to pay €5,000. They are also required to pay human rights organizations that filed the suit €11,000 in compensation. Back in 1994, in just 100 days, ethnic Hutu extremists killed about 800,000 people in Rwanda. Here in Nigeria, Vice President Kashim Shettima is criticizing the leader of the British Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch, for disparaging Nigeria. He stated this at the 10th Annual National Migration Dialogue at the State House, Abuja. The Vice President also highlighted the significant role migrants play in shaping societies and driving economic growth. He reaffirmed the commitment of the government to protect the rights of migrants, celebrating their legacy and contributions to national development. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
The 10th Annual National Migration Dialogue provides a platform for stakeholders to reflect on Nigeria's migration journey and forge innovative strategies to address emerging challenges. Themed Beyond Borders, celebrating migrants' legacy, protecting their rights. The event coincides with the commemoration of the International Migrants' Day and had in attendance Vice President Kashim Shettima, members of the diplomatic corps, and traditional rulers. The event provided valuable insights into Nigeria's migration journey and a need for coordinated efforts to address the challenges associated with migration.
We are actively formulating a national action plan aligned with the national policy on internally displaced persons. However, this critical undertaking demands significant support, including technical expertise, interagency cooperation, and adequate funding.
IOM has really worked with the Commission and all the authority at federal level as well as state level in order for Nigeria to really go ahead in terms of policy on internal displacement, as well as the advocacy for the domestication of the Kampala Convention, as well as the action plan for the implementation of the IDP policy.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction highlights the imperative of ensuring inclusiveness and protecting the rights of migrants.
Let us strengthen bilateral labor agreements with destination countries to safeguard the rights of migrants. We should also enhance the internal migration policies to address disparities and disparities in development and reduce irregulation in migration.
Vice President Kashim Shettima did not spare the leader of the British opposition over her comments on migration, while reaffirming the federal government's commitment to protecting the rights of migrants.
The federal government of Nigeria, under the able and capable leadership of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, remains resolute in addressing migration challenges. Migrants are the source of life in all societies. Rishi Sunak, the former British Prime Minister, is originally from India. A very brilliant young man. He never denigrated his nation of ancestry, nor poured venoms on India. Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the British Labour or Conservative Party. We are proud of her, in spite of her efforts at denigrating her nation of origin. She is entitled to her own opinions. She has even every right to remove the Kemi from her name. But that does not underscore the fact that the greatest black nation on earth is the nation called Nigeria.
The dialogue underscores the need for more coordinated efforts to address migration challenges while harnessing potential for economic growth and resilience. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
In South Africa, defending champion Andrea Principe has clinched the Red Bull King of the Air kiteboarding competition in Cape Town. Mr. Principe, who is from Italy, demonstrated why he remains at the pinnacle of the sport, overcoming some challenging conditions in a shortened version of the event to hang on to his crown. Meanwhile, Francesca Miani from the UK won the inaugural women's division, pulling off a series of high-scoring maneuvers to walk away with the trophy. She believes the new division will inspire others to follow in her wake. Well, next year we'll see the 3 European qualifiers, with the final returning to Cape Town.
Just going to inspire so many women, I think, to really push it. Just with all the girls even being in this division, it's just such a great thing for women kiteboarding. And I think, yeah, all the young girls are going to be looking up to this, and it's amazing.
I don't know, man. I can still believe it, man. My parents helped me really a lot. You know, I need to just say thanks to them because they'll always be there supporting me when I was doing something wrong, kicking my ass, and it was right. And this is the proof that, you know, nothing is impossible, man. And I show myself that when I want, I can do it. You know, that's the most important to me. When you have to be really focused, is just few times, you know, that really you have to be on point. And I show myself that when I want, I can be on point every time, everywhere, anytime, you know.
And finally, on the program, Christmas is in the air and not to be left behind. Shopping malls in Nairobi, Kenya are decking the halls with lights and ornaments. Residents and visitors attracted to the decorations are seeking to capture the holiday spirit in Kenya's capital with their cameras. The decorations serve as a reminder of the season's themes of unity and celebration, as many residents plan to spend time with their families during the holiday season.
The Christmassy feeling, they are definitely giving Christmas, you know. It's a time for cheer, it's a time for joy, it's a time for spreading love. And so what I'm most looking forward to during this Christmas time is that I will be able to do all these things, to celebrate love with others, to spread the Christmas cheers to others, to give back to the community most especially.
Well, for me, when you talk about Christmas, like when I know Christmas, I'm like, yes, the decorations are coming up and everything. So the decor for me, like the Christmas lights, the Christmas tree, and getting to spend time with family, that's it for me. That's what Christmas is for me.
It's a happy season and it's a happy place to be right now. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to enjoying every moment till the year ends.
And that's where we end Network Africa for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.